we've got, whoops, sorry. We've got NEM doing what we hoped it would do. How many of you are in that with me from yesterday? That thing is, where are we here? I haven't quite taken profits on it. It's up 50%. As we get into this high here, actually, I'll just do that here on the mic right now. I'll take off half. This is out till next week. So it's not a huge rush to try and take it off. Because we have a whole week on the expiration, but we're coming up here into the first target of the plan, right? If price moves up, see, this is the beauty of forming a plan. If price moves up to that 102.17, we're taking half off with a trailer to the 103.68, right? And so this to me is close enough, and just gonna pop that off right here for 50%. And then I'm gonna hold the rest with now a stop, a break even trade, right? So I'm gonna set a stop at break even, which is quite a ways away, obviously, but now it's a free trade, right? So we're good on that one. The other one that's working pretty well right now is Airbnb from yesterday. That one's kind of a slow creeper this morning, but what we had yesterday, and the reason I liked it, is you see this lower line. I didn't set up a trade plan on this in the, on the mic, but we have this lower support level, and we came into it, and then we broke down and we reclaimed it. And that's usually a very bullish sign when you break down a level and move back up into it. It's called a breakdown and reclaim. And so I bought that right down here with a very nice risk reward. I didn't put my thing on here. I did put it in chat, but this was my risk reward was 1 to 10 basically, right? So that one is working out great. That one, it's kind of a slow mover. That's also for next week. That's up 40, almost 42% now. So it's kind of the same plan, right? I'm gonna flip out, flip out half of them into that touch of that high, and then flip out the full position for that extension mark. Now, what happens if let's go to NEM, which is a much better example of this. What happens if NEM finds resistance here and pulls back over the course of today and Monday, kind of back down into here, right? What do you think I'm going to do with that half a position? Anyone tell me? Yeah, as long as things look stable, right? I'm gonna add back to it right here and ride it back up again, right? And a lot of times, and or maybe it comes down into here. All right, so I add, maybe I add more than I had in this original, because I didn't take, this wasn't a full position, because this range was just a little bit too much for me. I wanted to add if it came down into here, or capture this move, which we did, right? So there's a lot of options here. If this continues up, I'm going to take the second half of my position, flip it out there. If we find resistance here, we come down into here, I'm going to add back. If we come back down into here, I'm going to add a little bit more. If we break, I'm out, right? So let's say this wick comes all the way down, doesn't seem to find support here at point of control. I'm not going to add. I want to see kind of a sniper style reversal, right? On like a 1 minute. So you see that's the beauty when we're playing these 30-minute charts, right? Or in this case, you could even have a squeeze here on a 65-minute. Yeah, we have a squeeze on a 65-minute chart, right? It's kind of hard to see the fine detail. So let me take this off. But then if we jump in, and you can even look at a 2-minute chart, right? You can see all these same ranges. The lines stay on the chart, but now you can see sort of the fine detail, right? And you know what I know we're playing this on a 30, 60-minute chart, but as we come into support levels, right, whether that's point of control or this lower value area low, we can look for reversal patterns on a lower time frame to help us with our entries on the larger time frame, right? And being able to switch between the two. But I'm also, going to look at this larger time frame to decide, what I'm going to do on a larger scale. Does that make sense? So you always want to remember, okay, I'm trading on the 30-minute time frame or the 60-minute time frame, and I can jump down and look at it on a 1 or 2 minute time frame to help with an add or an entry or even an exit. But being able to come back and remember, okay, I am playing this on a 30-minute chart, so I don't need to stare at a 1 minute. Because if you stare at a 1 minute and you're playing a daily chart, the little ticks and the little up and downs, they could, you're just kind of wasting your time, right? You're just going to get ground up. Matt, I as soon as you mentioned BYND, I went and got some as well. Matt's another one of those guys that if he has if he alerts something with a couple of exclamation points, I'm just basically going to go blind by it. So that was pretty funny. And then of course Nate comes in and he buys it. That's pretty funny. Manny, how did I decide we're going to go back to, hold on, I want to manage my, where'd it go? Okay, I don't need to manage that. That one's good. Airbnb still pushing. Lulu is just kind of doing nothing right now. I played this lower bounce here, so yeah. Whoever asked that, I'm still in it. It's not doing anything at the moment. I wanted to see if it would give us a nice little snapback, but I'll be watching to see if it wants to continue this sort of slight upward trend or if it just wants to bail. This profit loss chart was from when we took this yesterday for or not yesterday, we took this on Wednesday for a Thursday pop, and then I'm now just trying to play a bounce back into that area on this. This was a 610% winner. I need to check. All right, I'm still okay. See, D-Man, are you in here, by the way? D-Man might not be here. We always have a pretty healthy competition. The last open house we had, who could hit the most 100% winners over the course of the week. I think all three of us had quite a few. And this time, I think, unless MU gets going, I think he had like 500% or something like that. I know he wants to beat my 610 from yesterday. So if MU goes, he's going to have it. But if MU just stays here, I might be able to finish out the day with the highest percentage winner out of us. So we'll see. There is certainly a part of me that's rooting for MU to fall apart today. Yeah. Oh, I'll talk some crap, T Hawk, if he's here or if he's not. You'll when we do our amigos session later this afternoon, you'll see us give each other a lot of grief, and that's the best, right? MU does look good though. Maybe BYND goes today, and we're all getting a nice 1,000%er. I got to get my chart up for that, by the way. Let's see. Airbnb. This is a great chart. It's just kind of boring, but it's a beauty. Let me see. Where do I want to put? Let's put. I don't need lemonade anymore. Oh, lemonade did bounce, didn't it? Now I need a new chart. New chart. Let's go. I need BYND. Oh yeah. Come on, baby. Would you say it was short float, Matt? BYND. You put it in here a second ago. I could go look it up, but I think it was in chat. 30%? Oh, yeah. Love it. Let's get rolling. So, what's interesting today here, this is a great example. Um, Sorry, I was just reading some chat. So, on the GEX charts this morning, the SPX, right? We moved up pretty quickly out of the gate. I mean, the 15-minute opening range was way up here, and I'm still playing that 15-minute opening range break. This is what I'm talking about when we talk about, like, we haven't rolled over, we haven't started moving down, but this trade is still very much intact, because as long as we don't start to break down below VWAP, even though this hasn't moved up and taken my profit target, the theta decay coming out of this is going to help me a lot. And so that thing is still intact. And what I wanted to do was pull up the gamma exposure for SPX and see if it still shows what I saw earlier. Not SPG. Have a good day. Love you. Yeah, it does. So check this out. This is the GEX chart for today, right? And things have moved around a little bit, but what's happening that's pretty interesting is this 6850 call level has been and still remains the largest level on the chart, right? And as we move to our absolute gamma, it is by far the largest, with also the largest open interest and almost the largest daily volume. And so as we moved into this area with the three of these right here, if we can move up above this level, I think this is going to act as a pretty big magnet today. And so I kind of think we're going to have a bit of a trend up day. And right now, that level is up here, right? And so we're up above those sort of three main strikes that all kind of sit right here. And it would not surprise me if through the course of the day here, we move up into that level, at least to touch it, right? At least to touch it. But that's just going to act as a magnet, and it's going to happen slowly because we're in a positive gamma environment, right? So it's not like we're just going to shoot up to it. We should, this is what I think should happen, right? We should just kind of work our way up that way slowly, because in a positive gamma environment, market makers, when price moves up, market makers are selling into that to hedge. And then as it continues to move up, they're selling into that and buying into dips. So it's a much, as long as we stay in a positive gamma environment, it's a much smoother sort of set of movements. All right. So, and that, coming back to our overall SPY chart, I've done this each day in terms of drawing this out, but we're in an OPEX week, right? And I said this on Wednesday. Here's Monday, here's Tuesday, here's Wednesday, here's Thursday, and now we're into Friday of OPEX week. This is sort of that OPEX Friday to Monday gap in this box. And we have our largest gamma exposure on the SPX up in here. It would not surprise me if we kind of leak our way up that direction for a close somewhere in this region on the day. Now, of course, news could come in. I guess there's going to be potentially there's going to be some Epstein file release at 3. I don't know how that would affect the market, but news can always trump what the market might be doing. OPEX is options expiration week. That's what that means. The third Friday of every month is the monthly option expirations. And you tend to have a week that is fairly choppy, right? In terms of, where you sort of start the week is usually roughly where you're going to kind of end the week, with some swings outside that range to suck in premium. And that's typically whether it's up or it's down. Sometimes in this case we went down away from it and now we're coming back to it. In some cases you just kind of trade around it like that. And then of course there's weeks where it just doesn't go. It isn't a typical OPEX week and you get these massive runs one way or the other. But those seem to be few and far between, right? I don't have any like stats on that. I was charting it for quite some time, which is why this OPEX week theory came to be. I have a couple of videos on that. In that we usually will set up a low on a Thursday or Friday the week before, right? So this one happened to happen. I speak English very well. On Friday, right? We usually start looking for it on a Thursday. And then the gap between either Thursday, Friday, or Monday, or Friday, Monday, I like to draw a box, right? Whatever that little gap is. Sometimes it's tiny, sometimes it's big. And just watch to see if price, certainly will move away from it, but will it come back to it? So that's why I think we might be working our way up into this 68.50 level throughout the day. And if we do, it'll act as a nice chunk of resistance. So we'll probably bounce off it. So if we come up into that area today, I may put on a call credit spread above it and just let it fade and probably end up working its way back up to it in the close, at least at the moment, because that's the largest gamma exposure level. But excuse me, but we'll see, things could shift as the day kind of goes on, right? Let's see where we are with Airbnb. Good. NEM going to push. No, it's going to catch a little resistance. That's fine. These two are kind of, they're working. These are, so for those of you who are learning the TPS method, right, the one we use in here quite a bit for swing trading, almost primarily, not quite a bit. This is an absolutely gorgeous chart, right? It's now pushing up towards previous highs, so it's not a buy here, but it was a buy down here at the point of control level, this red bar, and even more down here at this lower bar. And so somebody had asked a few minutes ago, which I did not fully answer, how did I get these lower levels? Is that person still in here? How did I get the levels? I remember you asking and then I got sidetracked. So I just want to see if I can actually answer your question. That was you, Sergio? Or Manny? Yeah, I think it was, well, it was a bunch of people. Okay, so all of you asked simultaneously. That's hilarious. I love it. I got these levels by charting them myself. And what, I mean, I can go back and I can do it again if you want me to. And I can show you how they came about. And this is, I do this for everything that I want to trade, right? So, and we can go find, I can set up another trade plan on something else if you'd like, that is setting up. This is not setting up, this is in progress. But we look for charts that look like this, right? We look for charts that, let me get rid of let's get rid of all the drawings, shall we? No, I don't want to do that. We look for charts that look like this, right? This is the one we took Wednesday. We look for charts that look like, if I did a replay on this one and brought it back to here. Why did that thing get so big? That's kind of weird. I don't want the replay tab. Flatten. There we go. Right? We look for charts that look like this, that spiked high and come down and consolidate and are starting to consolidate and look like they might want to go again. And so then we say to ourselves, all right, well, if I know I want to take a trade on this, if I back this up, let me back this up to what we were looking at yesterday, okay? Close this stupid tab. This is a gorgeous TPS setup, right? This is what we were looking at yesterday on NEM. And now I need to figure out where my stop level would be on this chart, right? Where my profit target would be, where a good place to enter would be. And so I need to start marking it up. And actually we were a little further than this, weren't we? We were there. No. Yeah, we were here, somewhere around here. Okay. So this is a gorgeous looking chart, and I need to figure out how I want to make a trade on this. And so what I'm going to use is volume profile over here, right? To kind of mark this chart up. I can use the visual chart, right? Like I could say, all right, well, I could draw a support line, trend line there, right? These are the kind of things we look for. These flags that we've moved up into, we're starting to flag or pin it, right? Bull pin it. But I want to really look at the pricing detail. So I'm going to look at volume profile. And you see that we have this, nice big node that makes up all of these buyers right here, buyers and sellers, right? All of these market participants. And I need to know where the support level for this area is. And so you see this ledge here that I'm about to draw a line on that we call a value area low, right? So I'm going to draw a line there. I usually like to make that like a yellow, okay? Then I'm going to find the point of control. This one's pretty easy. It's this red one that sticks out the furthest, right? So I'm going to put a line at point of control. I usually like to make that one red. And then, there's basically a value area high kind of in here, but I'm not going to mark that. I don't really care about that as much. I'm going to come up and I'm going to mark the recent high because that's usually one of my targets. And then I'm going to use Fibonacci and I'm going to measure from the high to the low, and I'm going to mark the 1272 extension right here as my final target, right? I want this to move up and out of the pattern. Okay? So now I've got this value area low level, which is my stop level. I've got a point of control, which is an over under level, and I've got my two targets, right? There seems to be a level, it's not quite clear, but let's say there's a value area high level kind of in this area. And this isn't an exact science. There's a little bit of an art to it, right? You could also say, okay, maybe that's up here area, but we've got some wicks through there. Got some pretty clear double tops here. So you can play within these ranges, right? But this helps inform me what my stop level is, right? In this case, we're above point of control or kind of at it. So my buy was at point of control. This is a risk reward tool, right? That you can put on your charts when you're going to place a trade. I move the bottom up to my stop level and then my target up to my secondary target, and then it'll give me a risk reward ratio right here. So, this is a little less than a 1-to-3, which is acceptable. And I know that if we can move up and, kind of come down into this point of control, I'm going to take my position. Or we're just above it, so that's totally fine. I'm going to take my position. If we move down into this stop level and we look like we're rounding, I'm going to add to it, right? You can see how many times we've bounced off that level. But I wasn't going to take a full position here. I took, a 3/4 position, let's say, because the risk reward was still pretty good. But I would have added down here unless it looked like it was going to flush through, right? And that's the plan I put on my target. Ooh, 100%er. Nice job, Nate. So now I have the trade plan on my chart and I can just let the thing play out, right? Does anybody have any questions on how I found those levels and how to set that up? How do I price the option? Meaning, what strike do I buy? Is that the question? I'm usually buying, the at the money options. So in this one, it was the $100 strike, which is just above us. So it was just kind of at the money or just slightly out of the money. And because it was on a Thursday and we're playing a 30-minute chart, I could have played today's expiration options, but I decided to give myself a little bit of room and I played next week's, right? So the $100 calls at 12.26, I got in there for about $2.13. I am moving my stop to break even, but I don't really put a hard stop in unless I know I'm going to just be away from the market. And I want to, lock in profits. So this risk reward indicator is just on TradingView. It's free. You don't even have to download it. It's in this fourth one down. If you're taking a long position, you use the long one or a short position. And when you click it, you just come in right to where you're putting on your trade, right? And you add it. Now it gives you a standard 1-to-1 box. So you have to then move it to where your stop level is and where your profit, and where your profit target is. It doesn't do that for you. It'd be great if it did. Right? And then you say, okay, here's my risk reward ratio, 2.19. That means it's a 1-to-2 risk reward, a little over that. You can see on the underlying, I'm risking $1.82 to make $4 on the underlying. So if you want to figure out, let's say it goes against me, I'm risking, let's say $2 flat because it'll have to break through this for you to stop out. And you're taking, a delta 50 option, right? If you're taking a delta 50 option, the option is going to move 50 cents in price for every $1 move in the option. And that's roughly, right? Because theta, as we move away, delta changes. So it's not exact, but it just kind of gives you a round framework. Okay, so for each contract that I'm putting on, let's just say they're $2 contracts, and I'm risking $2 in the underlying. How much to if this came down to my stop out level, what would be the price of my option contract, roughly? I mean, I'm picking nice huge round numbers. Anyone? Bueller? Yeah, it'd be worth $1, right? So 213, it'd be roughly $1.13, right? So whatever you're putting into this trade, if you let this go to a stop out level, which is usually going to be slightly below this level, then your option contract is now going to be worth $1.13, which is almost a 50% loss, right? If it goes that way. So then you decide how many contracts you're going to buy. If you're, if you can buy, let's say $1,000 is your max position size, you have to be then prepared, if you do that, that if you go to stop out, you're going to your max loss on a disciplined stop out is going to be like $500. It's going to be close to 50%. So if you're like, well, okay, my max position side is $1,000, but my max loss I like to keep at 250, right? And you want to follow the chart rules here. That means you can only take half a position, right? A $500 position or thereabouts to maintain this stop loss risk level or thereabouts. Does that make sense? So figuring out what your risk reward is on that trade and where you're going to stop out is important, because then it can affect how many contracts you take, right? If that's going to be a 50% loss and my max position size is 1,000 and I'm only wanting to risk 250, I need to take something with a better risk reward. So I need to I need to trade it when it's down here, or I have to wait until I have a better risk reward. I can't, what happens too often is people take that trade, put $1,000 into it, their max pain is 250, and this, works its way down into this area, right? And you're like, okay, that's 250, I'm out, but the overall pattern has not broken down. And then all of a sudden it finds a little bit of support and boom, and you took yours off at, minus 250 because that was your maximum pain according to your rules, but the chart just never broke down, right? The chart was valid the whole time. And you're like, oh, why did I miss that? And then you start making bad decisions, which we'll talk about in my discipline and psychology lesson later. You start making bad decisions and you say, okay, so I'm still going to take my $1,000 trade, but man, I'm gonna risk 500 now as my max pain. And then you'll do that, and you'll see, on the first one you do that with, boom, it breaks down, because we don't know which direction these charts are going. We're just taking shots, right? We're taking shots based on information that we have, and we're managing our trades effectively. And then all of a sudden you have a 50-60% loss, and you're like, I shouldn't have changed my rules. So we'll get into that a little bit more in depth in the psychology part of the lesson. But how did I find Lulu and NEM? Just scanning and looking through charts. I use SAM quite a bit to find charts. I also have a Thinkorswim scanner that I use as well to find. I love a 30-minute squeeze. This one looks for 30-minute squeezes for me. So does Sam. I use them. I use them both. There's people in chat that are like, oh, and of course Nate and D-Man, I like this, and I pull it up and I'm like, phew, I like this as well. And that's the beauty of being in a room like this, is you don't have to sit here and grind through the market and just look at every chart to see if there's the right kind of setup. You have tools and you have people that are doing that as well and throwing ideas into chat, and it saves so much time in terms of grinding through and trying to figure out which charts to trade. They're brought to you, right? That's something that's really hard to find anywhere else. Just idea after idea after idea, and then you get to sort through the ideas and decide if you like them or not. And you get to go in and set up these trade plans. I see, Nate, your response to Lila. Lila, did anything that I just made sense? Talking about position sizing and risk and stuff like that. Maybe she's out. Come to the discipline and psychology session later today, if you can. Yeah, we're just grinding our way up here, nice and slow. Nothing too flashy. And so, the key for a lot of these is to do these. All right, Airbnb coming up into our target number one. It's moving slow. That's at 68% right now. It's just grinding its way higher. Anybody take that with me? Put a 3 in chat if you took Airbnb with me. Monica, no. Kava was Nate Bears. Tesla was also Nate Bears, but I did take Tesla with him. He talked me into it yesterday when I was on the mic. Is Rivian going? Or is Rivian crashing? Okay, I just got to keep watching MU to make sure that D-Man doesn't beat me. Because, oh my God, am I going to hear about it if he does. And I don't have time for that today. I'm just not in the mood. Yeah, it is. Look at that. What's that daily look like? I'll tell you what's funny. And not funny in a ha-ha way. Oh, man. Did anybody call this out? How did I miss this? What a nice move. What's funny, and again, not in a ha-ha way, I was one of these idiots. when it IPO'd. I don't have it anymore. I mean, I cut it as it started to crap, but I was like, let's go next Tesla. I want a Rivian so bad though. When it's time to replace my my current vehicle, that's probably what I'm going to end up in. No, the car. Stock sucks. Well, stock's great right now. Yes, Jeff. It will be. I don't have an exact date on it, but we're setting it up for distribution as you might expect. So um, it's working great. It's got a number of different ways to change the kind of trades you're taking. Right, so we've got a standard reversal here, and then we've got continuation options as well. Uh, I don't know. I took a little lotto on this, trying to see if we could get a bounce on that low there. It hasn't really, it has kind of broken it, but it's sort of holding. I don't think this is going to work out today, which is totally fine. But we'll see. What's NEM doing? I know I'm on replay now. I made the mistake of putting all these on replay, and now I don't know what they're doing in real time. Yeah, NEM is finding a little resistance there. That's fine. That was to be expected. I'd love to add to it. This chart is gorgeous. I know if this comes into a buy zone, I know Nate will probably be adding to it as well. Or not adding to it, adding it to his portfolio. The only way the only way I can beat Mark T today is if it's funny because like Nate, it's hard to trade a live account and then also do a what do you call it? Do a paper trading one as well. But I took on Monday on that huge fall. I took a flyer on Google for today's expiration, nearly full account to see, just to kind of see if I could catch a massive return, and it did not really give a massive return. So I'm out. I bet my account is my 37 is, I haven't looked at it today, is probably, by the end of the day it's going to be at zero because I took a flyer. It's pretty funny. Yeah, I went full account, 3 DTE options on Google on Wednesday, 10 to 15 minutes into the open. Yeah, I blew up my paper trading account this week. I mean, I would never do that. I would never in a million years do that with real money. Uh, it was just kind of, when you're disciplined, or I want to say I'm disciplined all the time. I do certainly make mistakes. And I do certainly let fear and greed get a part of, get into my psyche sometimes. But it's fun when like there's a competition and it's not real money to just see if you can hit one of those, big timers, right? Because there's just no emotional risk to it. And therein lies the rub. Is paper trading is great to practice the mechanics of your trading, right? How to get in and out, how to watch your keep an eye on your P&L so that when you're taking profits, that kind of thing. Show that you can move your P&L from the left to the right, that sort of thing. But what changes so dramatically is when is when you have actual emotions on the line, because they mess with your decision making process, and that's a hard thing to learn. But 100, from 37 to 100 and some K in 3 days, that's really good. Mike, my two favorite time frames that I'm going to combine two time frames. So there's actually three. Um, I love. Let's not do that. I love a 30-minute time frame. Maybe because, like on a TPS, I'm looking for something that I don't have to sit in for 2 weeks. We're like on a daily squeeze. Sometimes you have to. My patience level is shorter, so I'd like it to work in overnight or 2 days or whatever. Um, did you run? Yeah, I would imagine a lot of people did the YOLO style of trading and just went full like I did, um, instead of being really disciplined. That's pretty funny. Um, and I just want that to I want that to resolve itself, either to the upside or to the downside in at least 2 days. My other favorite time frame is a 1 and a 2 minute. That's the where I'm trading the snipers, between a 1 and a 2 minute. So those are my two favorite. Yeah, Imrando makes a great point. The mechanics of putting on a spread and taking off a spread or a butterfly, um, learning to do that before you have actual money and actual risk on the table is important. No, I'm not out of the 15-minute ORB. Uh, I think it came into about 50% up here. I didn't have the order already loaded. I think I glanced at it while I was on the mic and just doing some other things. So I should have had that order in there. It's pretty close. In fact, I might do that just so if it comes in and takes out that 50% profit target, I am not just sitting on my hands. It took you out at 55. Nice work. I mean, that's the smart play there, is just putting in that exit order, and then just walking away. A sniper trade is, uh, today's market doesn't really set up for their reversal trades based on, oversold and overbought conditions and a MACD crossover. And so a sniper trade is using 0 DTE, right? Options, usually at the money or slightly in the money on the SPX or the SPY, right? It's kind of a 10 to 1. One SPY is equal to, no, sorry, one SPX is equal to roughly 10 SPY. And we're usually trying to catch reversals. Like, I think this might be a good reversal spot right here, especially considering we're just above this GEX level. So maybe there's a trade to be had, a sniper trade, a continuation trade. So I'm going to go to the trend up version. So we've just gotten a signal here. See this arrow? And now, so I'm going to load up, just in case, let's load up the SPY. And loading up means just pulling it up in my active trader. And I'm going to grab some of those. And what I'm looking for is a confirmation. I've got the trigger, and I'm looking for a confirmation in histogram color change. And what I'm doing is, this is my swing low, right? So if I put a little, oh, darn it. It's like the 5th time I've done that this week. I've just grabbed the wrong thing. I'm going to use that little risk reward tool. I grabbed it, say there. My stop is going to be below that swing low, and I'm just kind of going to target kind of a 1 to 2 risk reward. I'm looking for about 25%. I think this one's going to be kind of hard because there's not a lot of get up and go in this market, but it's going now. So then I'm going to have a little profit target in there and to see if it comes and takes me out, right? So we're currently up about 12% on those. See if we can't come up into like 20 to 25%. All right. And, sometimes you just get a little 10% hit there. A lot of times if I can get up above that, I will put if I want to give it a little bit more room. But I think this is just going to chop around. So, you could take that off for an 11% hit. Or if you're feeling nice and relaxed, you get into the 10 and 11, 15%, put in a stop at break even. And if it comes back, okay, no harm, no foul. If it goes a little bit more, you can take it off for 20 to 25%. So we are currently, that's 15, 16%. Pushing. Let's see if it'll go. Come on, give us a little more. 18%. All right, I'm going to put a little profit target in right there. Come get me at 25. Give me a little bit more. That's probably the extent of the range for this one. So I'm just going to take that off there at like 18%. Okay. It will be, Stevie. It will be. Yeah, so there you go. Little 18%er. No big deal. It might keep going. It might not. When you're just sort of ranging like this, probably, this might be the bounce that pushes us up, as I was talking about, into that 68.50 level that I think we're going to kind of grind up to today. But you just take a couple of those hits a day. That sounded terrible. Take a couple of sniper hits a day, and that's a nice little income. And so we took this here. We got the confirmation of histogram color change to sort of confirm we were in the right trade. And so we took it off at the right time. Now we've got ourselves a little roll. The trade I'm talking about right now was a sniper trade. So this is just a 0 DTE, SPX, or SPY style of trade where we're just kind of catching little reversals. And so this version is the continuation, trend up day setting for this. So it's not showing you any reversals to the downside. And it works pretty well when you're up above VWAP. and you're thinking, okay, today's a long day, so I just want to catch these dips and moves up into higher areas. Then there is your sort of range bound day, which is the more traditional way to read these. But you can see today, even though we're grinding up, we're just not getting a lot of signals. This has to be an overbought or oversold, right? And we're just not getting a ton of signals. And using this, we didn't get a signal here to go long for a little 18%, right? There's no signal for that because we're not in oversold or overbought. And so there's these settings for trend up and trend down, and then there's also a scalper setting, which gives you more options, both up and down. If you like to, there's a couple of us on these range bound days that like to, buy the bottom of the range, sell, flip it out, buy a put on the top of the range, sell, buy a call at the bottom of the range, that sort of thing. Oh yeah, the bottom here is a volt indicator, and you can see that one. That one is I did this one. I developed this one too. I mean, I used there's a couple of them out there, so it's not like I created it from scratch. But this shows us if it's above 2.5, we might be in a trend up day, and if it's below 2.5, we might be in a trend down day. There's a couple of other things we look at to figure that out. But that just helps make the decision between, am I using the range bound version of the indicator, or am I using the trend up or trend down version of it? Little stock pong, that's right. I know you play a little stock pong there, coach. This has not been released yet. It is not available just yet, but it will be soon. And of course, if you're in the room, you'll get first crack at it. If you're a member. Yes, it is being recorded. I'm just double checking that I did. Yes, all the sessions that I've done, I know D-Man does the same. Nate's obviously, they've all been recorded. Okay, so it is my time to jump off, and I think, who's next? Is it D-Man? Is it a break? What do we have going on? It's the lunch break and then the VIP members breakout. So I'm going to put Nate's screen back up. If you're a VIP member, you can go into the breakout room and go to that session, new members and VIP lunch session. If not, here, nobody will be on the mic for the next hour. It's lunch break. Things kind of calm down here in the market, and we'll be back on at 1 for a session by D-Man. But I hope you guys join us in the room. I hope if you've learned something this week, even if it was a lot, it felt like too much, but if you've learned something this week, put a 5 in chat. Yeah, Nate, I can leave mine up. That's totally fine. I'll leave my sniper scalper chart up for anybody that wants to try and trade it. Yeah, good. I love that, and that's the thing about being in a room like this is there's always something to learn every day. I mean, I learn something new every day. And there's just a great community of people. So I hope you join us. What's the code today? I don't know what the code today is. Oh, ELF100. And join us in here. Starting in the new year, it's going to be go time, right? I'm going to be doing a lot of 0 DTE style trading along with this TPS style. Those are my two main edges. And hope to see you guys in here. I will be back this afternoon with the discipline and psychology session. If you've been trading for a little bit, but you might be struggling, don't miss that. And then also, if you're new and want to get ahead of your brain, or try to get ahead of your brain, join us for that. No, your Gex chart should be. Does it look like this? It should. I'll resave it again just to make sure. Okay, it's lunch break. Nate's over in the VIP room. I'm going to leave my screen up with this stuff on it. If anybody wants to try and scalp this market. All right? I'll talk to you all later.